iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to another American Sim Racing Club Sportsman race. Tonight, we are at Watkins, Glen for playoff race number 2. The championship battle has tightened on up. Tanner Tallarico has a 1-point advantage over Devin McDonald. Devin McDonald this week will have to start in the back of the field and try to make his way through the field tonight. As we get ready to rock and roll with qualifying, we will look at the driver of the winner of last week, that being Devin McDonald of the 18 machine, running that plain black scheme. We'll see what he can do here in qualifying as he starts the very long outlap here at Watkins Glen. The timing scoring does not start till we hit the start-finish line, so all of this is just to get the car temperatures to where you want it as the driver, as well as getting those tires heated on up, as well as making sure you know where your marks are at around this place. One of the many challenging tracks for the ASRC Sportsman Series playoffs, as we have 3 different types of race tracks. 3 different and then 4 very different styles. As we see Devin McDonald get through the last couple corners here. Last week we're at Talladega. This week Watkins Glen. Next week Dirt Bristol. And then we finish at the Irwindale Speedway. So 4 very different techniques as Devin McDonald takes his first time lap here. He'll head into turn number 1. Missed the apex a little bit, but has to make sure he gets on the loud pedal, get a good run off this corner because you're wide open through the S's here as you go up the hill and to the bus stop. As Devin McDonald gets to the back stretch here and heads to the bus stop. This is one of the trickiest spots on this track as you see Devin get a little bit loose under braking. Has a lot of rearward brake bias in that 18 machine, as that part especially of this track takes full concentration. We'll see some drivers dare to go side by side, but usually they won't make it happen, make it work, because it is so difficult to get through there side by side, as Devin McDonald here gets to the end of the first lap. We'll take a look here at timing and scoring once he goes across the line. See where people stack on up when it's all said and done. But Devin McDonald, one of the first cars out on track to put in a lap. As Josiah Millen puts in a lap of 1:15.16. As, of course, we get some overlap in times. We're going to refresh the screen there and get this thing all adjusted. But right now, Lee Campbell with quick time. He puts in a sub-15 lap as Devin McDonald first lap is a 17.59. We'll take a look here and see what he can do on lap number 2. As if I had to guess, the first lap is going to be your money lap, let's say, the one that will be faster. So we'll have to see if he can improve any time for lap number 2. Looking a little bit better through the bus stop area on the second lap. So he might be able to improve that lap time. As we get the timing scoring back on up, but of course still needing a little bit of work. So we'll wait to throw that up on screen. As Devin McDonald comes off the final corner for the final time, Josiah Millen goes up to P number 1 once again on lap number 2. So lap number 2 better for the 40 machine as Devin McDonald does not improve that lap time. So we will take a look here at Hayden Swank in that 35 machine. He was the quickest in practice. We'll see what he can do on his first time lap. Hayden Swank will start that now. So we'll see what the 35 machine can do. As he heads up the hill through the S's, looking pretty sporty from this first part of the lap. We'll see what he can do down the backstretch he goes. He's carrying a lot of speed, folks. As Josiah Millen and Lee Campbell both in the 114s. We'll see who else can crack on in there. Dave Payton currently sitting in the 3rd position. As Tanner Tallarico almost gets in the 13, so Tanner Tallarico at the top of the board with that one car. He's currently pole position as Brian Wilderson knocks him off that with a sub-14 lap. So Brian Wilderson with a 13.97. So Brian Wilderson out there making a solid lap number 1. If you remember way back earlier in the season, folks, Brian Wilderson was leading the race at Sonoma until he had to pit with about 1 or 2 laps to go. And Hayden Swank with that first lap puts that thing P number 1. He says that'll be good enough for that driver. So he will be on pole unless Brian Wilderson can find some more speed in that 951 car. We're looking at him now. As a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the bus stop. We'll have to see if that impacts his speed, but he's trying to improve for this lap. See if he can give Hayden Swank a run for his money for that pole position. As Brian Wilderson makes his way through the last couple corners here. He'll have to really hit his marks as Tanner Tallarico jumps back up to P number 2. As Brian Wilderson comes out of the last corner, trying to put that power down in these ARCA cars with these General tires as the 951 machine crosses the start-finish line. Improves his lap a little bit, but not enough. He will start P number 3 when it's all said and done. As I believe this concludes the first group of qualifiers. So far, we have about 3 drivers that have not taken a time. So we'll have to see if any of those drivers do end up taking a time. But with that, we're going to go over some race information. Of course, this is playoff race number 2 from the American Sim Racing Club Sportsman Series. This track is 2.42 miles with, I want to say, 9 turns around this place. So we'll have to see how these drivers can navigate these 9 corners. And the big takeaway tonight, you got to keep that car straight. Got to keep that car on track if you want a shot for a win. And overall a good finish. If you can check those boxes, you'll be sim pretty by the end of this race. Of course, there will be a competition caution. I think that will come on lap number 8, so we will have to see how that can play on in when it is all said and done. A little bit of partly cloudy here tonight. A pretty warm day, 79 degrees here in New York, so we will have to wait and see how that can work out. But of course, we got to thank all the viewers like you guys tuning on in, spending your Monday nights with us. Appreciate all of you guys, including your replay viewers. You know, I got to give a shout out to you guys as well. And looking ahead, folks, we got some action-packed races. We'll be off next week for Halloween. But after that, we will go to the Dirt Bristol and sling some mud. We'll see who can come out on top. Devin McDonald did win the last dirt race here at American Sim Racing Club. So we will have to see if he can go 2 for 2. But then we will end at the Irwindale Speedway. That's going to be a wild season finale, folks. As with the amount of time and the cars that have not taken a lap, I think Hayden Swank will be tonight's Quick Time Award with a 113.48. So nicely done, Hayden. He adds another pole here to his resume here at ASRC. As with the competition caution coming out tonight, there are no playoff points awarded to those drivers, so they are just racing for position where they're at. But, you know, you can come in once the yellow flag is out, take some tires, take that all-important fuel, and try and make it to the end, as we will have to see how these drivers can seal their fate, as this will be the middle portion. Once it's completed, we'll be halfway done with the playoffs. As Hayden Swank gets the job done, he will be tonight's pole sitter as we get ready to go down grid side. We'll wait for the cars to get on track, and we'll run through tonight's starting order here at the Glen. As we will go through tonight's starting order, Hayden Swank in the 35 machine will start on the pole. Tanner Tallarico in the 1 will start to the outside of the front row. Row number 2 will be made up of Brian Wilderson in the 951 machine. Josiah Millen in the 40 with a solid effort will start 4th. 5th goes to Lee Campbell in the 27 machine. Dave Payne in the 38th will start 6th. 7th goes to Devin McDonald in the 18 machine. He will have to drop to the back when it's all said and done for that shotgun challenge. 8th goes to John Sanu in the 86 machine. 9th will be Donald Bennett because Andrew Payne will not be out there on track. 10th goes to the Blue Deuce, John DeMeester in the 2. And rounding out tonight's starting field is John Hammond in the 113 machine. As we get ready for drivers to get to their cars and get ready to do battle. Of course, we have a very long outlap with the pacing. So with these drivers, you see the yellow banners as well as their yellow numbers. That means they are in the playoffs, so you'll have to keep that in mind for these drivers. Not everyone has a playoff banner, but all of the playoff drivers will have the yellow number in the timing and scoring. As we will get ready to do battle here. As with this waiting, we're going to go to commercial break. We'll be back on the other side here right before green. Don't go anywhere, folks. as we are back here for race number 2 of the playoffs. We got these guys pacing on around. We're about halfway done with our pace lap. We'll see everyone get through the bus stop here, as these guys will do battle for 25 laps. Lap number 8 will be a competition caution, so these guys at least racing to lap number 8, and then the strategy comes into play. We'll see who can be on the move from there on out as we look through tonight's field. A solid field here when it is all said and done. Looking at some of these paint schemes before they might get a little beat up. We will have to wait and see from this race. As we make it through the final corner in this pace lap, Hayden Swank will lead us to green. Tanner Tallarico to the outside front row as the iRacing pace car makes its way down pit road. We'll now wait for the 35 machine to jump on the loud pedal. He does that. We go green flag racing here at Watkins Glen. And Tanner Tallarico gets away with a great start over Hayden Swank. We'll have to see how this shakes on out as Tanner Tallarico takes the race lead. Hayden Swank in second, and they go side by side through the S's for third. Brian Wilson hangs on to third over Josiah Millen. Dave Payne currently in the 5th position, trying to hold off Lee Campbell in that 27 machine. As we see the field head to the bus stop, Hayden Swank has a bit of a pressure behind him from Brian Wilson, as everyone makes it through the bus stop there cleanly. Everyone keeps it out on track, so everyone looking pretty good in this race. As with the timing scoring says, this is currently lap 1 of 25, so that's why it already says 25 laps to go. We already start inside the end of the counter, but these laps very long, as we saw, right around a minute 15 once those tires do wear. But Tanner Tallarico will lead lap number 1 over Hayden Swank. As you can see, these guys hard on the brakes into turn number 1. Get that thing mowed down for that right-hander, and then jumping on the loud pedal here all the way up through the S's as these guys go through the gears. But a little bit of a 3-car breakaway here at the front, being led by Tanner Tallarico, Hayden Swank, and Brian Wilderson. Then a gap then to Josiah Millen, who has Dave Payne closing the gap there for 4th. So we might have to keep an eye on that, but Hayden Swank all over the back bumper now of Tanner Tallarico. So we will keep our eyes glued for this battle for the race lead. Hayden Swank very strong through this first part of the lap. We'll see if he can make a move on Tanner Tallarico. And Tanner Tallarico down pit road. I am here from race control that the 1 machine did get a black flag on that start for jumping it. They thought the 1 machine jumped it, so crazy stuff out of this. So that will hurt our current points leader, as Brian Wilderson will take over the race lead, and Hayden Swank will be in second as Brian Wilderson able to get around Hayden. So this is the battle for the race lead, as you see Hayden Swank get big time sideways off the S's. As you see these guys both diving it down into the bus stop. Hayden Swank a little bit braver on the brakes. As this is now the current battle for the race lead. So Tanner Tallarico trying to get out on pit road before the field comes, as he does get out there on track. So he will have to try and go through this field once that competition caution does fall. So the driver of the one machine, his race is not over yet, but already in a massive hole to start tonight, as the front two now have broken away over our current third place runner, that being Josiah Millen, with Tanner Tallarico and Lee Campbell in that 27 machine giving chase. Then John DeMeester kind of on his own here, 1 and 2. Then John Sanu and Devin McDonald doing battle for P number 7. As I think Devin McDonald may have had a little bit of an incident. That's why he's trying to get back through this field here. Currently in the 7th position. But if there is a time to make a mistake, folks, it is definitely in this first part of this race, with that competition caution falling here eventually. But the closest battle out on track is, of course, the battle for the race lead. Brian Wilderson trying to hit his marks out there in fresh air over Hayden Swank, as Hayden Swank goes very wide there as they head to the final corner to complete lap number 3. As we see the field heading down into turn number 1 and 2. They get away cleanly. We will look at our third place runner, Avron, again through the corner fairly cleanly. Brian Wilderson, last time by, puts in the best lap of the race with a 1:13.89. Hayden Swank, the second quick, with a 1:14.16. So those guys are out there absolutely hauling butt. As up front, Brian Wilderson has actually put a little bit of a gap over Hayden Swank. Was very good through that first sector of this lap. So Brian Wilderson able to get back out there. John DeMeester misses the bus stop, so he had to come to a complete stop in that blue dew. So he will fall back to the 8th position when it's all said and done. Also out here with the 31 machine is Donald Bennett. He's trying to make some stuff happen out of that 31 machine. Just trying to get to this first stage caution. And you always got to love that singular cell machine. Always a good looking paint scheme. As we have one driver down pit road here very early, that being the 27 machine of Lee Campbell. So maybe a little bit of some strategy out of the 27 machine. Knows he has to have a big impact here tonight, as he is now down pit road, and the battle for the race lead continues on. Hayden Swank has now cut Wilderson's lead in half, now about a half a second back from our race leader, and still closing the gap. As I believe next time by, we will see the competition caution, so we'll see pit road close this lap. As, yeah, they got to complete this lap and then one more till the competition caution, as it does come out on lap number 8. Tanner Tallarico does get around Lee Campbell with that pit strategy, so we will have to see if Tanner maybe makes a splash and go on the restart. Maybe if he can make it to the end. But Hayden Swank right on the back bumper. He looks to the inside of Brian Wilderson. They go door to door in the bus stop. And Hayden Swank tries to clear him. He doesn't quite. And he does in the middle of the bus stop. So new race leader, the 35 machine of Hayden Swank. He gets the job done in the trickiest part of the track. But now he has to make sure he hits his marks, because Brian Wilderson right on the back bumper of our new race leader. As we look on board with the 951 machine, hard on those brakes into turn number 1. Hayden Swank with a little bit of a lockup. That will kill his run off the corner, so this may open up the door for Brian Wilderson to try and make the same move Hayden Swank just made a lap earlier. As Hayden Swank kicks out the back end here in the S's. That car looks like it's losing some traction here already with this. So we'll have to see how Hayden Swank can defend here on this lap as Brian Wilderson looks for a second but thinks better of it. Trying to put some pressure on Hayden Swank, and he's doing just that. These guys nose to tail here going for this stage win. And that shows you folks how much tire saving will matter, because Hayden Swank already experienced a little bit of an ill-handling race car only about 7 or 8 laps into this race. So something to keep in mind, as these drivers will try and go probably 15 laps when it's all said and done. So we'll have to see who can save some tires. But it looks like Hayden Swank continues to hold off Brian Wilderson with the hard charge, as that will be our stage caution. Hayden Swank gets the job done over Brian Wilderson. So we will slow up the field and get ready for some caution. As the field tries to catch this pace car. And with this, we're going to go to commercial break. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere, folks.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Watkins Glen as we get our pit stops on in. We'll take a look at the field here as everyone does come down pit road, except for maybe the 27 machine of Lee Campbell, who is currently still out there on track, and he does end up coming on in. So maybe a little bit of a shorter stop, but everyone out on track down pit road. As we see everyone make it to their box, looks like everyone gets it woed up. Oh, Brian Wilderson had to move, so the stop will be a little bit slow from the 951 machine. Let's see how many positions he does lose as everyone taking 4 tires, filling that thing up with fuel. And Josiah Millen, a little bit of a strategy. He comes out with the lead. Dave Payne second, Hayden Swank third, Brian Wilderson fourth, and I think Lee Campbell just beat Tanner Talarico on off. So some good pit road battles when it's all said and done. As Brian Wilderson in that 951 machine, I'm hearing from race control, does have a speeding penalty. So he will restart at the back. You hate to see it for that 951 machine, as he will have to make his way through this field and then once again try and challenge Hayden Swank. So a bummer for him. As with a little bit of time, folks, we might try and catch the driver of that 35 machine, the winner of the first stage, that being Hayden Swank. So we'll try and talk to him here quick and see what he has to say as we try and dial up Hayden Swank. Hayden, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey Brett, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. How about yourself, man?
You know, got off to a really rocky start there. Obviously, I did not mean for Tanner to jump me there. I was just started in second gear, thinking that would get the job done, but I guess not. And then obviously got loose trying to get back around him. But once we got back in the lead, the car felt good. And I think if I get the fuel strategy right on this last run, we should be in a good spot.
Alrighty, good stuff from you, Hayden. Yeah, some great battles throughout there. You and Brian Wilderson, absolutely awesome battle for the race lead. You guys going side by side in the bus stop. That looked pretty sketchy from the broadcast booth. How was it in the car?
Oh, it was just about as sketchy. But Brian did an awesome job. I was going to leave him all the room in the world. Coming through the second little kink in the bus stop, I was going to keep it as wide as I could. But luckily, no contact was made. I mean, there was some hard racing at the front. Really, really fun.
Alrighty, Hayden. Looks like you'll restart P number 3. What's kind of the game plan here going forward with starting in that third position here for this restart?
I think it's just going to be, I think getting in clean air is going to be useful, and just seeing how the fuel is going to stack up. I just don't want to lose positions here. So that'll be the big thing.
Alrighty. Great stuff from you, Hayden. Once again, congrats on the stage run win. Before we turn you loose to go back green flag racing, anyone you want to thank or give a shout out to before we let you go?
Go sub to overtime. That's about all I got. But make sure you come back and watch the end of this deal.
That is for sure, Hayden. It's going to be a great barn burner to the finish. So good luck to you, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the end of the night again.
10-4. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, folks. That was the driver of the 35 machine, Hayden Swank, trying to get the job done as we get ready to go green flag racing here. The lights are extinguished on the iRacing pace car. We get ready to do battle here for the last 17 laps when it is all said and done. And with the field bunched up, folks, I might do a little turn 3, turn it up with all the cars out here. So once we go green, we'll do a little turn it up, as we got to keep an eye on the 951 machine of Brian Wilderson as iRacing pace car heads down pit road. Josiah Millen will lead us to green. As Josiah jumps on the loud pedal, we go back green flag racing here. Gets a great start over Dave Payne, and we'll do some turn 3, turn it up. As we come back to the live racing action here, Josiah Millen continues to lead the way over Hayden Swank in second. Tanner Tallarico with that black flag has rebounded back to the third position. And Brian Wilderson with that penalty is up to the fifth position. So these leaders right on top of each other here, the top three going at it here as we ride on board with Brian Wilderson entering the hard braking zone. Josiah Millen out there in front in that fresh air, but having some pressure behind him, that being the 35 machine of Hayden Swank, with Tanner Tallarico right there in chase as well. As these guys going to be very close on fuel by the end of it, so these guys will have to make sure they manage their fuel as well as their tires. As you saw Tanner Tallarico get a little bit loose. Ooh, Josiah Millen with a bad bus stop there. That could open up the door. Tanner Tallarico thinks about it to the inside, backs on out of it, but Josiah Millen not with a best bus stop off of there, as Hayden Swank now right on the back bumper of that Jack Daniels machine will look to the inside in this corner, think better of it, but right there giving our race leader a lot of pressure. This time by at the start-finish line, we will see 13 laps to go. So still a lot of racing to be had. As the field once again in the hard braking zone of turn number one. Josiah Millen continues to lead the way over Hayden Swank and Tanner Tallarico. That's Tanner right on the back bumper of the driver we're currently on board with. As you can see how loose these cars are through those S's, especially once you crest that hill with that last left-hander. The rear end very loose in these cars, as Brian Wilderson on the back bumper of Dave Payne. He has caught our fourth place runner, so Brian Wilderson will try and make a move on this Pinkerton 38 machine. Looks like he will get the inside line here in the big sweeping right-hander, also known as the carousel. As now he clears him, Brian Wilderson will try and catch these front runners, who he has been, so you gotta wonder if he's pushing a lot harder than these race leaders. As Hayden Swank gets a big time loose off of the final corner, that will open up the door to the inside to Tanner Tallarico, so they'll go side by side for second, as Tanner Tallarico late on the brakes, but will just clear Hayden Swank, so Tanner Tallarico back up into the second position. This is a race he needs to get a little bit of a cushion heading into Dirt Bristol, because anything can happen there, and Tanner wants as many points as he can when it's all said and done. As Devin McDonald, a little bit of issues for the 18 machine. Looks like he did go off track at one point, so now he's got to try and get around those next cars in front of him. As we'll try and look at the 18 machines off track, and of course don't have it on the replay, so we'll go back live here to the battle for the race lead. It's currently a 3-car battle. Brian Wilderson trying to make it a 4-car battle before it's all said and done. This time at the start-finish line, we will see 11 laps to go for these race leaders. As Tanner Tallarico thought about making a move on Josiah Millen, will think better of it. Maybe just making sure that he sees him in his rear view, you know, trying to make something happen. So Tanner Tallarico putting the pressure on our race leader, that 40 Jack Daniels machine. And Brian Wilderson has closed in the gap, now about less than a second back from our race leader. The question is, he has caught this pack. Can he make a move to get around him? He has been the quickest car on track and by far the quickest car in this second stage. as now we got a 4-car battle for the race lead, all nose to tail. Josiah Millen with a little bit of a wiggle with that last right-hander. That opens up the door for Tanner Tallarico. Brian Wilderson will try and make the move on Hayden Swankin. Contact. Brian Wilderson goes on around on the front stretch as everyone tries to make evasive maneuver, but we will have to take a look at that contact because that is a bummer for Brian Wilderson. As we take a look at the replay here, we'll look for the contact between the 35 and the 951, and yeah, it looks like Hayden Swank broke the rear tires, came across the track, and that, oh man, that's a tough break for Brian Wilderson. Made his way all the way back up through the field. Now will be back to the 6th position, as that is a bummer for Brian. Was very strong there, as now Hayden Swank holds on to the 3rd position after that, but Tanner Tallarico now out there in front leading some laps as he will try and separate himself from this battle and use that clean air to his advantage. As Hayden Swank looks to get around the 40 machine of Josiah Millen. Tries the inside, will not do it. As Hayden Swank will bring that car pit side. He will claim that incident between him and Wilderson, so he will drive through pit road and join on the race later. So that will put Dave Payton in the 38 machine back up into the podium. He claims over that 3rd position. Now if you're Josiah Millen or Dave Payne, you just got to hit your marks and hope that our race leader, that being Tanner Tallarico, makes some sort of mistake, but that throws a big curveball in this race here with the contact between 2 of our front runners. As Tanner Tallarico slowly starts to stretch out his race lead over Josiah Millen. As time by, we will see 8 laps to go. But with this, we're going to go to commercial break here. We'll come back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Actually, we may have a battle for 7th on the speedway. So we're going to go take a look at this. And once this gets all sorted out, we will go to commercials. Oh, man. John Sanu, big incident into this corner. He got loose under braking. I think hit the grass and then big time contact with the outside wall. We'll take a look at the replay to see what happened to John Sanu under braking here. And yeah, puts that right rear in the dirt. That shoots the car hard left. He tries to save it to not get in that inside wall. And with that makes pretty significant contact without the wall. As now Hayden Swank with an issue. We'll take a look at the 35 machine as he enters turn number 1. Probably frustrated with himself. We'll take a look to see what happened to Hayden Swank as his race goes from bad to worse as he jumps on the loud pedal on that curb and makes very hard impact with that inside wall. So that is a tough break for Hayden Swank, who we talked to right before this caution, as that thing is heavily damaged. He will rejoin in the 10th position behind John Sanu, who also has damage. So a lot unfolding there in a short amount of laps. But up front, Tanner Tallarico continues to lead the way here with 7 laps to go. We're going to go to a commercial break now that things hopefully have settled on down. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. As we come back to Watkins Glen, Tanner Tallarico looking to complete lap number 6. And you know what? We'll jump on board with Tanner Tallarico, see what he's doing for a lap around this place, see what's making him so fast, as we'll jump on board and listen to Tanner go through the gears and go through the corners. As it looks like as we're riding on board with Tanner Tallarico, John Sanu with a little bit of an issue, so we're going to check that out here once Tanner completes this lap. But this is a lap around the Glen, Watkins Glen, as Tanner's showing us how to do it as he continues to stretch the race lead over Josiah Millen. As you can see how loose these race cars are for these drivers. Tanner Tallarico kicking the back end on out for this lap, this time by at the flag stand. He will see 5 laps to go, so he has to put together 5 more, as we'll take a look at the John Sanu incident in that 86 Luke transport machine. As we see John getting through the carousel here, looks like, gets loose trying to jump on the power. Probably that damaged race car does not help the handling, and definitely some more contact to that already damaged right side does not help any more. As we got a battle here, and oh man, last week's winner, big time incident. He's got that right front knocked off that race car. We'll have to see what happened to Devin McDonald, as Hayden Swank also down pit road, and Devin McDonald already right front gone on that machine, so we will have to maybe back it up a little bit further to see what happened to Devin McDonald, as he already lost it, folks. So not sure what happened to that 18 machine, but you can see the outcome. A tough break for that driver. Last week's winner will go a lap down as Tanner Tallarico comes off the final corner to complete 4 laps to go. As of the drivers that have taken a lap, 8 of the cars still out on track. As Tanner Tallarico gets a little bit loose, exiting turn number 1 on those rumble strips. You saw Hayden Swank get bit by those, so these drivers having to be careful over those bumps. Especially if you're the driver of this one car, you don't want to push it any more than you have to. Just make sure you hit your marks, especially with the cushion he has over second place Josiah Millen. Let's talk about Josiah for a minute. He has put on a strong race here. A little bit of a strategy. I have to double check if he did take 2. No, he didn't. He took 4 tires, but had just a great stop by his pit crew to take the lead to the green, and is currently held on to the second position now. So Josiah Millen putting on a pretty good clinic here in second. Dave Payne, our current 3rd place driver, hanging on strong. Has Lee Campbell about 5 seconds back. You can see him off in the distance down that straightaway. So Dave Payne, another driver with a great run after it is all said and done. But this time for our race leader, Tanner Tallarico, 3 laps to go. As Tanner Tallarico continues to put the gap over this field, his lead continues to increase, and Tanner Tallarico coming into this race 1 point advantage over Devin McDonald, who currently sits in the 9th position. Maybe will fall to 10th with Hayden Swank being back out on track. So not the race Devin wanted, but Tanner Tallarico will add a little bit of a cushion for that points lead in this one car. As Tanner makes his way through these last couple corners, this time by at the flag stand. We will see popsicle sticks up in the air, folks. 2 laps to go here around Watkins Glen. About 5 miles left in this race for this one car to get the job done. He just has his marks. Doesn't have to push any harder than he needs to. He just needs to keep that car out on track as the 951 machine of Brian Wilderson puts that thing just slightly on off, but keeps that thing straight, and he will still continue to hang on to the 5th position. As up front, Tanner Talrico, less than a lap and a half to go to get the job done, to park it in victory lane, to get his first win in these playoffs. As Josiah Millen, a little bit of an issue in the bus stop. He will fall back to 3rd, so Dave Payne will take over the 2nd position. We'll take a look to see what happened to the Jack Daniels number 40 machine as we see him enter the bus stop, and I bet he gets a little bit too much of the curb here. And puts that thing out in the dirt on that left side. And that will probably have gave him a slow down and had to wall that thing on up. And that allows Dave Payne to get on by. But for our race leader, it's the final lap. White flag, 1 lap to go for Tanner Talarico, as he might have a little bit of lap traffic in front of him, that being the 86 machine of John Sanu. Dave Payne currently hanging on to 2nd, but Josiah Millen about 2 seconds back from him, so Dave Payne has to make sure he hits his marks to prevent him from losing that 2nd position. As Tanner Talarico about a half a lap left, he will bring that thing into the bus stop, making sure he hits his marks, being nice and careful, making sure no mistakes out of this one car this final lap. As Tanner Talarico can smell the win, folks. He has about 2 more turns left, and he will be chatting with us when it is all said and done. Definitely way off the pace, but that's probably a choice by the driver, making sure that he can make it on fuel as well as no big mistakes. But off the final corner, Tanner Talarico gets the job done. He will win playoff race number 2 and help his playoff battle here as Tanner Talarico gets the job done. Here for 2nd, looks like Dave Payne will hold off Josiah Millen for 2nd. Josiah Millen will bring it home 3rd. Looks like Lee Campbell will bring that thing in 4th. And Brian Wilderson will be in the 5th position here off the final corner. A little bit of kiss to the wall, but Brian Wilderson will round out the top 5. So nicely job by Tanner Talarico. And it looks like everyone will file on back around, and we will take a look at Tanner Talarico to burn it down on the front stretch for all the fans here at home. And an eventful race here tonight for playoff race number 2 for these drivers, as next week it's going to be even more wild, folks. Well, 2 weeks from now, excuse me. Dirt Bristol is next up on the schedule, so oh man, that's going to be a wild one. And then, of course, we'll end the schedule at Irwindale Speedway. But we will keep the camera on the one machine to burn it on down on the front stretch. And then we'll be talking to the top 3 when it is all said and done. As Tanner Talarico will stop it at the start-finish line, and we'll call it there. So we'll go to commercial break. On the other side, we'll be talking to the top 3. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, folks, we are back here at Watkins Glen, here to chat with our top 3 finishers. First up, we have our 3rd place finisher, that being Josiah Millen in the 40 machine. Josiah, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yes, sir, I do.
Alrighty, man. That was a heck of a second half of the race by you. You come out with the race lead after pit stops. I mean, you got to give a bonus to that pit crew. You absolutely were hauling butt on pit road. How'd you make that stop so quick?
Well, I was pretty surprised myself that I came out on top out of pit road. I don't know. I just hit the pit road speed perfect, and I hit my box perfect, and my pit crew was fast.
That's right, Josiah. They were bad fast, but after that, you take the race lead, hold off Hayden Swank, who was giving you a ton of pressure there, and then, of course, Tanner Tallarico gets around you. But you learn anything out there in clean air? And because that 40 machine looked pretty sporty the second half of this run.
I don't really know if I learned too much. I don't really consider myself a road course racer, but that was fun. Hayden and Tanner both raced me clean. I probably was holding them up a little bit. Those guys are really fast. But I was pretty proud of my performance.
Yeah, Josiah, it was a heck of a performance by you. But we got to ask, in those closing stages, did you get a penalty there in the bus stop, and that allowed Dave Payne to get around you there with a handful of laps to go?
Yeah, I did. I'm not going to lie. I was watching my mirror probably the last 5 laps, and I just happened to look up entering the bus stop, and I hit the brakes a little too late. I had a little wheel hop, and I put the left sides through the grass. So, yeah, I had a yield penalty, but it's all good. I'm happy with the podium finish.
Yeah, Josiah, a heck of a job by you. Getting to talk to you, always a great thing, so you finish up on the podium. Like you said, road course is maybe not your strong suit, so to come away with 3rd with this competition got to mean a lot to you.
Yeah, it does. ASRC puts on a lot of good shows. There is good competition in here, and it always keeps me on my toes.
And Josiah, looking forward to next week. We got Dirt Bristol. You're in the playoffs. What's kind of the mindset going to there, and what can we expect from this Jack Daniels number 40 machine?
Well, I kind of consider myself a dirt guy, so I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to run well. I had a good run last week at Talladega and a 3rd place here, so let's just hope we can put it in the winner's circle.
Yep, that would do a lot, especially for your playoff run. So, Josiah, before we let you go, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for this 40 crew.
First, I'm going to thank my wife for letting me race with you guys on a Monday night. I want to thank ASRC for putting on these shows, the admins, Tanner, Andrew, Dave, and Turn 3 Racing Network, and you, Brett, for broadcasting this series.
Alrighty, stuff. Appreciate the shout out, Josiah. You have yourself a great rest of the night and go home and celebrate this podium finish. Josiah, you have yourself a great rest of the night.
Thanks, man. You too.
Alrighty, folks. That was our 3rd place finisher. Now we'll dial up our 2nd place finisher, that being the 38 Pinkerton machine of Dave Payne. Dave, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett. How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. How's it for this 38 driver when it's all said and done? You bring that thing home in P number 2. How'd you do it, Dave?
I stole it. That's how I did it. I just flat stole it. I don't think I had anywhere close to 2nd place pace, but my whole goal going into the night was just try and not make any mistakes, which is usually how it, that kind of goes to be, or that's how you approach every night, I guess, you try and not make any mistakes, but that was like especially clear here in my head tonight coming into it. I'm like, just don't screw up. And I think I had, 4th or 5th place pace, but I got lucky on other driver errors.
Yeah, Dave, and when it's all said and done, you bring it home 2nd, so heck of a job by you. That's got to help the points run, as I think you came into tonight third in points, I think, when it's all said and done. I think you'll walk home in the second position behind Tanner Tallarico.
Yeah, I think it was Tanner, Devin, and then me. And I think Devin had a more or less pretty decent chunk going into this race. And so I think I definitely gained some on him. If not, maybe passed him. I'm not sure. We'll see how it shakes out afterwards.
Yeah. And Dave, looking forward to 2 weeks from now, our next race in the schedule. It's Dirt Bristol. What's kind of expectations for this 38 team going into that wild race?
Well, I mean, you know me. I love dirt. And I was so pleasantly surprised at how fun the dirt race was in this car at Eldora. I think it was, right? Yeah, Eldora earlier this season. So I'm super excited about it. And I think, if I remember correctly, I did pretty good at Eldora too. So we'll see what happens. You know, I kind of just take one race at a time. And I think the next one, I'm just going to do the same thing. Try not to screw up, keep my nose clean, and see where I shake out at the end.
Yep, that would be the case, especially for all these playoff drivers, everyone trying to make up a bunch of points with Tanner Tallarico picking up the win tonight. But before we let you go, Dave, and celebrate this runner-up finish, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who we got to thank for this 38 team.
Well, tonight I think all my thanks has got to go to the driver of that number 40 machine, Josiah Millen, for making that mistake on the last lap or second to last lap. I was willing it the entire time I was behind him. I was sitting there watching my relative, and I could not crack. I was like 3.5 seconds behind, and I think that's as close as I got. And he was just hanging out in that area, so I was like, come on, man, screw up. Just make a mistake, one mistake, and he did it. So thank you, Josiah, for that awesome driver error. And then, of course, thank you for broadcasting our races, and Andrew for putting this particular series all together. And finally, as always, my lovely wife, Natalie Payton, who puts up with my silly hobbies.
Alrighty, awesome stuff for me, Dave. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again before the season is over. So, Dave, you have yourself a great rest tonight and go celebrate this runner-up finish.
Thanks, Brett.
Alrighty, folks. Now we'll head down to Victory Lane and talk to the man of the hour, that being the driver of the one machine, Tanner Tallarico. Tanner, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett.
Alrighty, man. You bring that home in Victory Lane. Tell us how your car was tonight. It seemed like that thing was on rails, especially in the second half of this race.
Yeah, it was pretty solid. I'm starting to get accustomed to this car on road courses, and when we ran Sonoma earlier in the year, I kind of learned a couple things there that I thought might transfer over to tonight. A couple of them did, a couple of them didn't, but the few that did definitely helped, and it was just really, really solid. All I told myself, I was just talking with Dave a second ago, was to just try to get through the whole thing and not make any mistakes. I had to make a pit stop right off the get-go there. I got a black flag. I beat Hayden to the line there on the initial start, so I had to come down pit road and serve a black flag. And I racked the field on that restart and just kind of paced myself and Hayden and Josiah, and I think Brian was up there for a little bit, and Dave. We were all kind of in a big group there for a little while, and I just kind of was waiting and looking for holes to open up here and there, and a couple did, and just kind of found my way to the front and then just tried to minimize any mistakes.
Yeah, behind when you're giving that pressure to Josiah Millen, what was kind of going through your head, hoping that he made a mistake sometime, because it seemed like it was pretty hard to put the power down in these ARCA cars here tonight?
Well, I had a couple spots I felt like I was stronger than most guys, but then I had a couple spots too where I felt like they were probably a little bit stronger than me, and it's probably pretty obvious on the broadcast which places I'm talking about. I felt like I was really, really good, at the end of the long straightaways, so I guess it'd be into 7 and then into 1 and then into the bus stop. I felt really strong, but struggled all night up through the S's for some reason. I could not figure it out through the S's, so whenever I felt like I had the opportunity to try to get a big run down the straightaway and kind of pull to the inside in a braking zone, I try to take advantage of that as much as I possibly could. But yeah, just trying to take advantage of the passing zones that this place gives you and try to minimize the mistakes and take the holes when they open up.
And Tanner, you did just that. You come home with the win here tonight, but looking ahead, next race in the schedule, Dirt Bristol. What's kind of your game plan going into that race, Tanner?
Oh man, it's a tough one because this season has been so competitive. We start these playoffs and it kind of jumbles everybody back up. And after last week at Talladega, I was just trying to get through that race without being caught up in the big one, which I did. And I think we took the white flag in like 3rd place, which would have been awesome. I was pushing my buddy Ron, and just came back across the line and gave up a whole bunch of spots coming to the line, and kind of put myself in an awkward spot coming into tonight and the rest of the playoffs. So realistically, after tonight, just gonna try to finish as solid as I possibly can. Top 5s are great. Top 3s are even better. But we'll just keep shooting for top 5s, and hopefully everything works out. I will say that tonight, as well as Irwindale, I feel like we're gonna be my 2 best shots at, having really good runs. Talladega is obviously a toss-up, and I'm not the greatest with these pavement cars on dirt. I can usually run fairly consistent, just not with a whole bunch of speed. So not real sure what's going to go on next week. If we can just survive that place and come out of there with like a top 5, top 6, something like that, I think we'll be okay going into Irwindale. But just trying to keep the nose on it the rest of the season, and we'll see how things shake out.
Yep, that will be for sure the case, Tanner, as you came into tonight with a 1-point advantage over Devin McDonald. Now put yourself with a healthy lead, probably over Dave Payne with that second finish. So the points continue to probably not be as tight for the championship battle, but, still always in reaching grasp. So I know that's going to be in the back of your head for both these next 2 races.
Yeah, as I said a minute ago, this season's been super, super competitive. We've had a lot of different winners, and I don't think there's been one driver so far this season where you can say, like, that's the guy. I feel like we've all had big bursts of speed, and we've all been somewhat, leveled off between each other as far as the speed goes. So, yeah, I mean, having a bigger points lead obviously will, I guess, it'll help your mental side of it a little bit, but realistically that can all go away in 1 lap next week. So until it's mathematically locked up, it's really hard to think about, and just gotta go race by race and lap by lap, and make sure that I'm keeping myself in the right positions and out of the bad ones. And like I say, hopefully everything shakes out in the end, and we'll see where we end up.
Yep. As Tanner, before we let you go and celebrate down in victory lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for this one crew here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, first and foremost, everybody on the car, Elif Brothers Roofing on the hood, Accurate Inspections, Mike's Custom Garage and Speed Shop, KRW Performance, Boardwalk Subs, you, Brett, for putting this on. I know I try to tell you every single time I get the chance to talk to you, you do a phenomenal job doing this kind of by yourself. You do a great job. Dave, Nick, Andrew, all the admins, Tim, Zach, everybody that helps do the behind-the-scenes stuff with ASRC makes this whole deal go around, as well as all of our members here at the league. They're the backbone of this whole deal, so without them, ASRC would not be what it is. So thanks to everybody. Appreciate it, and we'll go into Bristol and I guess get muddy and try not to wad it up.
Alrighty, awesome stuff from you, Tanner. Once again, congrats on the win here tonight. I'm sure that's what you wanted to see, especially with these playoffs in full swing now. So, Tanner, you have yourself a great rest of the night. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here in the future.
Thanks, Brad. Have a good one.
Alrighty, folks. That was our race winner, Tanner Tallarico, down in victory lane as he pulls that car on off from the start-finish line. He gets the job done here tonight, and we'll run through tonight's finishing order. So, Tanner Tallarico in the 1 machine gets the job done. He will finish P number 1. Second, looks like it will go to Dave Payne in the 38 machine. Third place goes to Josiah Millen in the 40. Fourth is Lee Campbell in the 27 machine. Fifth goes to Brian Wilderson in the 951. Sixth place with the biggest mover of the race is Donald Bennett in the 31. Nice job, Donald, here tonight. 7th is John DeMeester in the Blue Deuce. 8th is John Sanu. 9th goes to Hayden Swink, and rounding out the field tonight, 10th place goes to Devin McDonald. So, folks, that will do it for me here tonight at Watkins Glen. Race number 2 of the playoffs are in the books. Tanner Tallarico picks up the win. I've been Brett the Jet from Turn 3 Racing Network. Of course, we got to shout out Turn 3 Racing Network for all the great stuff they have going on each and every week. Be sure to check us on out if you're in the need for some sim racing action. We got a lot of great broadcasters, a lot of great series we cover, so be sure to tune on in. Everyone got to give a shout out to all the live viewers tuning on in, all the replay viewers, and of course all the racers that put on the show for all of us to watch. Everyone take care. Have a safe week and weekend. Happy Halloween to all the viewers. We'll be back here in 2 weeks. The next race on the schedule is Dirt Bristol. You won't want to miss that, as we will go into the second half of the playoffs. And we'll catch you guys all on the flip side.